Hi, it's Lisa from Stratus. I'm here today to talk about how you can leverage your experience in the military in your MBA applications. Perhaps you're leaving the active duty military service and looking for an MBA to help smooth your transition into the civilian world. Or maybe you're active duty, just pausing that career to get an MBA to boost your skills going forward. An MBA is a great way to do both of those things. The traits that made you successful in the military, those leadership skills, the organizational skills, the ability to work under pressure, the teamwork skills, are things that are really highly valued by MBA programs and beyond. As you start thinking about how you're going to take this journey, we recommend that you reach out to the veterans clubs at your target schools. They are a great source of information and support for you. Additionally, almost all programs now have dedicated people on staff to help active duty and veterans through the process. How do schools evaluate military candidates? The same way they evaluate civilian candidates. That's really on a holistic basis. The first thing schools look at are your academics. Are you going to be able to cut the mustard in their program? They look at your GMAT or GRE score, and at this point, schools are completely agnostic between the two. You want to aim to get the highest score you possibly can. They also look at your GPA. How did you do in college? That's water under the bridge. There's nothing you can do about that now. Something to keep in mind is that schools are slightly forgiving of a little bit of a softer GPA if you went through a ROTC program or to one of the academies, because they do know how many other demands there are on your time when you're in one of those programs. The next thing they look at is your work experience. You want to try to translate your work experience into language that will really resonate with a civilian reader. A lot of times military candidates have a hard time figuring out what to talk about. We suggest that you look at your reviews. What have your supervisors called out as your strengths? What have they called out on some very specific projects that you've worked on? Those are the things that you want to highlight on your work experience. The other area is your leadership and your community service. These are areas where military candidates really shine. If you went ROTC or to one of the academies, probably starting early in your college career, you were responsible for leading younger students, for training younger students. And even if you didn't, certainly in your career, you've been responsible for leading other people. These are traits that not necessarily everybody in the civilian world gets at such a young age. Community service is also a big piece, and schools know that very often military members will really become involved in the communities where they are working. So you want to highlight those traits. Recommendations are an important piece, and they're the piece that you have the least control over. You want to ask one of your direct supervisors, someone who has seen your work directly, to write a letter of recommendation for you. While you can't write your recommendations, and you probably shouldn't give them any information that they could cut and paste into a recommendation, you certainly can remind them of things that you hope that they will highlight in your recommendation letters. The last piece is the piece that you have the most control over, the essays. How do you choose to talk about yourself to the schools? Schools are cognizant of the fact that in the military, you're often not really wanting to be vulnerable or show your personality. However, don't be afraid to show your personality. This is a place where you can really let your personality out and show schools who you really are as a person. We at Stratus have a lot of experience working with military candidates, and we'd love to help you in the process. Please feel free to reach out to schedule a free one-on-one consultation.